Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new, my name is Alicia and I'm a PSYCH-K facilitator. So in this video, I'm going to answer a very big question, which is, does PSYCH-K work? And I'm sure you're just dying to know the answer, so I'm just going to get right into it and say, yes, it does. 100% I can vouch for this process and vouch for the things that Rob Williams and Bruce Lipton have been saying about it. I have a lot of kind of stories to share about the success that I've had with clients and with friends and family using PSYCH-K, and also with myself. So I'm gonna share a little bit of mix of my stories and experiences as a PSYCH-K facilitator. So let's just get right on into it. So one of my latest stories is around somebody who came to me for hay fever. And now this person had been struggling with hay fever all their life for, well over 10-20 years, and has always just had a horrendous time in the summer. And so when we did the session, their nose was inflamed, just the skin around the nose was really flaky, having trouble breathing, sneezing all the time. And we did some PSYCH-K balances, and literally that afternoon, he said that his hay fever completely disappeared and he was able to breathe properly for the first time. No medication was taken or anything like that. Everything was just completely gone and completely clear. And a few weeks later, and it still hasn't come back. So I think it's safe to say that with something like that, it's very obvious that the changes can be attributed to the PSYCH-K session. So that's pretty cool, the fact that you can change something like hay fever and allergy because of your belief system. And just so you know, anything that goes on in your body is somewhat linked to your belief system around it. So what Bruce Lipton says is that only 1% of diseases are actually linked to genes, and the rest of it is linked to how we perceive ourselves and the world around us, basically our belief system. And so once we change those limiting beliefs and we change our perception, then we change the experiences that we have in our lives. And that's exactly what happened with this person with their hay fever. So that was pretty cool. Another instance is somebody who had really bad eczema, been struggling with it her whole life, came to me for a PSYCH-K session, and several months later she emailed me actually saying that her skin just keeps getting better and better every day, and she's so pleased with the results. Now it's not completely gone, but she is definitely seeing the results since we had the session. So that's also really great. Now I want to kind of go into some of my own experiences now. So I personally have seen huge personal growth benefits since I found and have been using PSYCH-K with myself. So I wrote a little list, and this is by no means exhaustive because we'd be sat here all day, honestly, if I were to go through absolutely everything that has changed about me, about my life, about the relationships that I have in my life, about my financial situation, about my perception of every aspect of my life. And I'm very grateful for this process to enable me to grow so much in such a short period of time. But the first thing that I have written down on my notebook is the ability to be present. And I think, you hear a lot about this in spirituality, and the gurus and, the enlightened masters all talk about being present, living in the now, meditating, all of that stuff. And it kind of seems quite elusive, like, you're trying to meditate, you're trying to be present, but then obviously through trying, you're not really being present. And sometimes we don't even know what it feels like to be present, or really be able to experience that. But I noticed that very soon after my advanced workshop, pretty much the next day actually, after doing the core belief balance, that one was really the most powerful thing I'd ever experienced. and the effects for me at least were immediate. So yeah, afterwards I just noticed that I was just there, I was present, I was even though I was conscious of the time, and if I was trying to get to a place or if I knew I had a meeting, I was conscious of the fact that I was there for my meeting, or I needed to get to my meeting. But I think previously I would have been so caught up in I need to get there on time that I would miss out on the actual moment of getting to the place that I wanted to go. Whereas now I feel like I can actually be present and be with my surroundings and be with my emotions and, you know, just be, whilst also being conscious and aware of the time and where I need to go. And so it's kind of that shift, and it's so, I can't even describe the feeling of how nice it is to be able to be present and to notice your surroundings and to be immersed in the now moment. It really is so amazing. Now, I'm not always 100% present. It depends on how much mental chatter that I have, because, you know, I am still human. I'm not saying that PSYCH-K or anything really can cure your mental noise completely, but I am saying that I've noticed a huge difference from the place that I was. And the beautiful thing about PSYCH-K is that the longer you have these subconscious changes, the more obvious and noticeable the benefits will be as you go on with your life, because the effects are kind of cumulative. So I know that it's just going to be uphill from here. So the next one that I wrote down was how happy and light I feel. And this is coming from somebody who has previously really struggled with feeling content and happy within themselves, struggling with depression, sense of meaninglessness, all of that kind of stuff. But I genuinely can say that I most of the time feel happy and light. And even if there is something bothering me, just if I'm having some issues in my life or something like that, or there's something that's weighing on my mind, I still feel this undertone of happiness and lightness, of just general, this is okay. Like, I still like being me. I still enjoy life, even though there's kind of stuff going on in my life that isn't particularly pleasant. I still feel happy and light, which is kind of strange to explain, but for me it feels great, and that's a really lovely change for me. Another one is how I perceive other people and just kind of my general experience of the world around me. I feel like has completely shifted, and it's beyond recognition, and I know that something has definitely changed, because I just feel like everybody is so much nicer. Everybody is smiley. I feel like I'm just either attracting better experiences, people just wanting to help me whenever I go out, people just saying good morning, unusually nice and unusually pleasant experiences have been happening to me. And on one level, I think it's because, you know, I've changed, so the experiences I'm attracting are just more positive because I'm more positive, and so I'm aligning with that different vibration. But I also think it's because what I expect to see has changed, in the sense that I feel like humanity is good. I feel like the world is safe. I feel like people are generally just kind, gracious, lovely, helpful. And so that's kind of what I put my attention on. And I do notice that there are still homeless people. I do notice that a lot of people are still living in a lower vibration state. I do notice social issues, and you know, that's still something that is part of my perception. It's just that it doesn't kind of taint my view of the world, and I still hold that the world and people are nice and beautiful and lovely, and it really does just, it touches me every single day, and that's the only thing that I can really say to describe it, and I'm trying my best to kind of convey my experiences and how I feel to you in this video. But please bear in mind that most of the stuff that I feel is, you know, ineffable. It's something that needs to be felt, experienced, and yeah, I really wish the same or similar or better experiences for you. So the next one is, I feel like everything is just clearer and sharper. And if you have watched my previous videos, then you know that I've struggled with brain fog, with just haziness, feeling confused, like my mind is not clear. And yeah, my perception feels sharper. I feel like colors seem brighter. I feel like everything's just a little more in focus. There's more space in my mind to think. I'm able to process things faster. I'm able to express myself better. Things come to me naturally and easier. And that's been my newer experiences since finding PSYCH-K. And yes, the next one that I wrote down, I think I've already touched on it a little bit, but it's important nonetheless, is genuine love. And there's just so much less judgment. I used to kind of have a lot of judgmental thoughts towards myself, towards others. Just whenever I would notice like something in them that I found to be annoying or whatever, there would be that judgmental voice inside my head, and it would just cause me to feel all kinds of negative emotions towards that person and probably behave differently in front of this person. And so it would, you know, kind of break rapport, and they probably didn't like me either because I was having all of this negative feeling towards them. But now there's a sense of genuine love towards people that I meet. And when I kind of notice something that I wouldn't normally gravitate towards, like a characteristic or a mannerism, I don't really judge it so harshly. I kind of notice it, but there's not that judgmental nature of the noticing that used to be there, is all I can really describe it. And so it just really helps me kind of accept them for who they are, like genuinely, really, truly accept them and love them more unconditionally. And I can say that I'm definitely on my path towards loving everybody unconditionally. To me right now, it feels like I do love others unconditionally, but of course I know that it's a journey, so it's probably just my perception based on where I was, and there's probably a lot further to go and a lot deeper that this unconditional love can go, but I am definitely feeling it a lot more. And the next one is just a feeling of being safe, and this is a big one for me because obviously I grew up with you know, a lot of things happening in my childhood and with my parents and just in life in general, and I kind of grew up feeling unsafe and kind of unworthy, felt like the world just wasn't accepting of me. And now I do genuinely feel like the world is a safe place. I feel like my needs are going to be met. I feel like I don't need to be scared of any experience that I might potentially encounter in my life. And that's a really comforting feeling to have. And the other one that I wrote down is feeling like I know who I am. And I think I also touched on this. A lot of this stuff kind of overlaps a little bit, so I'm sorry if this is kind of, you know, repetitive or whatever, but for me it's different. Feeling like I know who I am, my identity and my place on this earth, my purpose, all of that stuff, like this existential stuff, is stuff that I have struggled with just my whole life. I just never felt like I belonged, never knew who I was, just had so many issues around my identity. And now I feel like I'm actually free to be who I am. I kind of feel like I know what I like, I know how I behave. I just have this sense of connection with myself that I never had before. And of course, like I say with everything, this is an ongoing journey, so I'm never gonna be like I'm there, but it's a hell of a lot better than where I was. And I'm really grateful to, you know, my journey and the PSYCH-K process for helping me get to this place. So oh, the next one is really interesting actually. The ability to speak and read without stress. And so this mainly came out of the rapport balance that I did, which is a PSYCH-K balance. I may do a separate video about it. But essentially this is all about building rapport, feeling comfortable speaking in the different, what are they called? So visual, kinesthetic, auditory, those are the three main representational systems. And it's like our preferred method of communicating with the world. Now, what people don't know is that whilst most people have one preferred method of communicating and receiving information, we can actually be very comfortable with all three, equally comfortable with all three. We don't have to have a preference. And when this happens, it makes things so much easier for us because we feel like we can speak freely using all the different types of words, whether they're visual or auditory or kinesthetic, and it just flows, it feels good. We're whole-brained, which is a big thing in PSYCH-K, just in terms of basically whole brain means that you're not stressed, you're utilizing all of your brain's resources when you're speaking and listening. And so after I did this balance, like I'd always had issues kind of reading things out loud. Just I don't know what it was. I think it might have been just stuff in my childhood, maybe being shamed whenever I was reading aloud in class or whatever, because my English was never very good. My pronunciation when I was a child was probably not the best because I'm not from a white background. So that's probably where it all started. But now I feel so comfortable reading things out loud. I feel comfortable speaking. I feel comfortable listening to things in whatever way and form that comes. So I used to always have issues with listening to things without actually being able to see the person or the video. I would just feel kind of uncomfortable receiving information, purely auditory information. And now, because I've done this balance, I just noticed that that's completely gone. I feel comfortable speaking to people on the phone. I feel comfortable, you know, watching YouTube videos. I feel comfortable seeing people in person. I feel comfortable just being with someone without even saying anything at all. Like everything is just so much easier. And the rapport balance is just amazing for stuff like that. So, yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you want me to do a separate video about the rapport balance, what it is, how it can help you, just all the nitty-gritty of the rapport balance. I'd be happy to do that. Oh, a really cool thing that I have noticed is the ability to need less sleep and still have so much energy. I feel like I've always been the type of person where I've had chronic fatigue, and my issue has always just been more like I just wanted to melt into my own bed and like never leave, because I was just so tired all the time. I just never had this internal energy. And lately I've just been, you know, I don't need that much sleep. Like even if I haven't had a good night's sleep, I've still got this internal energy, this internal fire that gets me up, that and I just feel so energized. And man, I can't tell you how good that feels after years and years and years of basically just wanting to like lay in my bed all day, to finally have the energy to go out, to meet people, to do things, to film these videos, to have clients over, to write, to laugh, just enjoy life. And yeah, that's been amazing. And the last one that I wrote down, because I'm aware that this video is getting very, very long and I'd like to wrap it up, is that I'm now usually not late for things. It's natural for me to be on time for things. And this is something that I've had issues with my whole life. If you know anybody from my life, from my childhood, my parents, my family, my boyfriend, everybody would tell you that I'm always late for things. Like, it doesn't matter how early I try to prepare or get up. If I've got to be somewhere, I'm usually like almost late or really struggling to make it on time, like running to get to the place that I need to go. But I did a balance around it, and I noticed it wasn't an immediate thing that I noticed being on time, but over time I just started to realize, like a few weeks later when I really thought about it, I was like, hey, you know, I'm actually getting to places on time. And actually it was sparked by my boyfriend noticing. He was like, oh my god, you actually like got in the car on time. Like this is this is really unusual. And like my boyfriend is pretty good at noticing things, and he only points things out when it's like a big change. So for him to be like, oh my god, like I've noticed that you're actually on time, like you're not having to rush, you're not having to struggle with making it on time, that's a big change for you. So that's really cool. So I hope I've kind of conveyed to you in this video the kinds of things that PSYCH-K can have an effect on, the types of changes that could happen in your life as a result of changing your limiting beliefs and reprogramming the subconscious mind and doing all of this lovely work. Now, what I will make sure to say in this video is don't expect anything from PSYCH-K. Don't expect that you're going to see things right away. That's another thing that I get asked is like, you know, when am I going to see a change? Am I going to notice a change after one session? And the answer is maybe yes and maybe no. It just depends on you. And for me, quite a lot of the processes have had immediate results, and I've noticed immediate changes in the session. And then after the session, I'm like, okay, like something's definitely changed. But that's not necessarily always the case. So the thing with being late, for instance, I didn't notice that until many weeks afterwards. I feel like it's just, there's something on my face. Okay, anyways, yeah, we never say that we cure anything in PSYCH-K. We never promise that we're gonna cure something. So if you did come to me for an allergy or for any issue, I would just say, you know, it's worth giving it a go and trying sessions. And usually with several sessions, the situation will improve somewhat. If not it just being your perception of the illness or the thing that you are struggling with, some benefit will happen out of PSYCH-K because we're changing your limiting beliefs. So I hope this video was informative and it answers all of your questions. You learned some more about PSYCH-K. If you're interested in having a session with me, then please do check out the information box down below. All of my links and contact details will be down there. Please get in touch if you are at all kind of resonating with any of this, or you're just curious, because this could be the start of a really wonderful journey for you and some really incredible changes. So I hope you have an incredible day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.